Hi guys, this is Eve, and I'm going to show you something pretty cool. I know many people are asking, is it possible to have a repeater inside a repeater? And of course it's not possible currently on EditRx, but there is a workaround which I'm going to show you. It's not a repeater inside a repeater. It's going to create that feeling of a repeater inside a repeater. It's actually a layouter inside a repeater. And we're going to do something nice using the Store app. And it's basically a way to showcase your products in your store. It's not a replacement for the actual products page, but it's a nice way to showcase what you have in a creative way using what you are able to do on EditRx. So let's start. We're going to add a repeater to our canvas. All right, and I'm just going to get rid of this minimum height and get rid of this extra margin on top. Cool, and let's make this whole thing like 90%. Great. And now let me add the Store app. Okay, because we want our products and the products collection to be there. So I'm going to add it to site. And it's going to basically add this placeholder of different products to my site, and I'll be able to play around with this data. So I'm just going to wait a bit for it to finish. Awesome. So now it gives me this default page, a shop page, but I'm not going to use that because that's like a very built-in widget. You can't really manipulate it too much. So what I'm going to do is it's important to see that it's on a home page. All right. Now with this repeater, let me grab the item and do some stuff to it, create a grid. And down here, I'm going to put placeholder for some text. This is going to show me the product, right? And let's make this just a bit smaller. And as you see, because this is a repeater, obviously, everything I do structure-wise in one item is going to repeat in the other items. All right, and I'm going to take this and duplicate it, pressing Command D, and I'll place it here. This is going to be my placeholder for the price. And actually, I'd like to change here the font to something a bit nicer. Maybe this one. Okay, it's fine. Good, and let me stack these two elements together. So I'm pressing one, shift the other, and I'm stacking them. And so now with my grid cell, the grid row, I wanted to grab exactly the content that's inside. So I'm going to set it to, to max content. So now it collapses around the element. Now we have here a top margin that I want to get rid of. And also I'd like to align it here to the left. Okay. Just make it a bit like 300. Okay, perfect. Now, I would like to get some padding around here. So 20 pixels, and I want it on all sides. So I can use here the lock on the side and lock 20 pixels on all sides. And let's make this 100%, the stack. Very good, so the text doesn't break. Nice. Now, on top here in this top cell, we're going to enter a layouter. So when we attach it here, we just need to make sure that it's only in the top cell, not on both cells. And let's just get rid of these margins here, this negative margin. And I would like it to be 100% of its parent. Great. I have here an extra margin on the left. Wonderful. So we see here there's a layouter inside a repeater item. So of course, it duplicates itself to the other items. And I would like to enter an image, to drag an image, to have an image in each one of these items. So I can do that very quickly. from the add panel, I'm going to enter here some images and stretch them over the items. Okay, and I would like to have a maximum of 6 images in this layouter. So I'm going to grab the layouter and add an item, add 2 items actually. So I'm pressing 1 and 2. So now I have 2 extra items here, and I'm going to add images to them. And stretch, and add another one. Okay, now because I'm going to connect this layouter through code to data in my collection, I'm not always going to have 6 images for each product to show. So I want to collapse all of these images in the layouter and only expand those that do have an image to show. So as a default, if I open here my layers panel, in the layouter, each of these items are going to be initially collapsed. Now, if I want to do anything with the code, I'm going to have to turn on my dev mode. So it's going to take a while. Great. And now in my layers panel, I'm going to grab each item and click here the collapsed. All right. Okay, very cool. So I don't want it to display like a mosaic. I'm going to change this to a slider. Cool, so now I have on each item in the repeater this slider of images for each product. I'm just gonna do some adjustments to the layout here. So the layouter, let's make the items with 90%. And I don't want to have any gaps here. Okay, perfect, great. So I have here 6 images, great. So now let's connect our repeater to the data that we have of the store collection. Now the products collection comes as a default. It comes to you when you add the store app. So you see here when we open the dev mode, when we turned it on, we have this sign to connect the repeater to a data. So we're connecting it, and we're going to have to create a data set. We choose a collection. For us, it's going to be our products collection, and dataset name, stores products dataset. That's fine. Now we can connect. So first of all, we see right away we have more elements because these are the number of elements that we have in our database of products. And now I'd like to connect this text. So the product is going to connect to the field called name. And right away, you'll see that it's going to change. I'm a product because that's the default that they have there in the collection. And the price, I'm going to choose to connect to formatted price. So it's going to update that, and you see suddenly I have different prices of the products in my collection. Cool. So now what we have to do is to connect these layouter images to the images in our item gallery for each product. So let's open the code and start to code. I'm going to delete this. So first thing we need to is to make sure that our data set is ready so that it's connected to our collection and it's also connected to our repeater. So what we do is we're going to write $W, and currently our data set has an ID of dataset 1, which is kind of generic, so I'm going to change it to products data set. Okay, so we're going to grab this data set through the code, and this is the products data set, and we have a function to make sure that it's ready, on ready. All right, and inside there's going to be an anonymous function. Okay, now we're going to loop through each item in the repeater. So let's grab our repeater. Okay, this is our repeater, and let's name it something else like products repeater. Okay, and we're going to loop through that. So it's $W products repeater. And we're looping with the function on item ready. And inside we have 3 parameters. We have $item, which means that we can grab through $item any item inside our repeater. Then we have the item data, which means that we can get any data that's inside the collection that's connected to this repeater. And we have the index. And this is an anonymous function. Great. Now we need 2 variables to grab 2 things. We need to grab the collection of the products in the database, and we need to grab the items of the layouter. 2 things that we need. So let's have here 2 variables. One is going to be collection items, media. So how about we call it collection media items? That's better. We want to grab the field of the gallery inside the database, the collection. So we can grab here the item data. And we want to see what this field, what's the key of this field. And we can do that by going to the code here. And here we have databases. And under databases, we have stores, and we have a collection called products. And here we see all the different fields and how they are named. So if we want to get to the media gallery, we see that our field key is named media items. So we're going to use that. We're going to grab it. This is our media items. Perfect. We also want to grab the items in the layouter. So this is going to be our layouter items. And how do we do that? Let's get here and grab the layouter. Let's change its ID so it's clear to us. We'll call it layouter. So this is going to be, let's grab the element. So I would naturally want to press $W to grab any item, but since we are grabbing a layouter that's inside a repeater, it's going to be $item instead of $W. So $item, and we're grabbing our layouter. Perfect. But now we grab our layouter, we really want to grab the items inside this layouter. So in order to get that array of items, we have to get into the property called children. Okay, and this is going to give us, like, if we see what's nesting inside this layouter, we have each one of those. Those are the children. It comes as an array, the children of the layouter. Okay, so now we're grabbing these items. Great. Now what do we want to do? We want to loop through all the layouter items, and for each one of its children, the image inside it, we want to connect it to an image in the media items field in the collection. Sounds a little bit complicated, so we're just going to do it, and hopefully it will clear itself, clear by itself. So we're going to take the layouter items, and for each, all right, and inside we have 2 parameters: the item of the layouter, and the index. So this is an anonymous function. And now we want to grab 2 things. We need to grab the each image in the media gallery array, and we need to grab the single image inside the layouter. So let's do that first. Let's do collection image. And so this is going to be the collection media items. But each time we want to grab a different item, so it's always going to be in the position of the index. So for each layouter, we're going to see for the first place, for the first item, we'll have the first image, and then the index is going to change to 1. That's going to grab the second image, and so on and so on. All right, and we also want to grab the layouter image. And for that, we have the layouter items, okay? Nested inside it is not the images, right? But a box. I'll show you here. For each layouter, there's an item which is a container that has its own like ID and everything, and only inside it is the image. So to grab that, we need to grab each layouter item, its children, in its first position. Let me see what I didn't do right. Children, layouter items. Oh, sorry. We actually, because we're looping, we have the item of each layouter. So we already have that. Very good. This is going to grab the image of each item in the layouter. Cool. So now what do we need to do? We need to feed each layouter image the source of this image, to feed it the source of the specific image in the collection. So what we're going to do, first of all, we want to make sure that we actually have an image to show. So if collection image, if we have an image in our collection, then layouter image source receives the collection image source. Now remember how we collapsed each item? Because we're not always going to have 6 of those. 6 items, 6 images to show. So only the ones who do have a collection image are the items that we want to expand. So we have here the item that we're looping on, and we're going to click expand. All right. Let's format it. Quick format. Great. And let's see if it works. So we're going to run. Oh, nice. So see, we have products in our gallery, in our repeater, and each repeater item has a layouter inside it that shows the different images of each product's image gallery. And this is a really nice way to show. Now, I would like to give some space to these items. So in the repeater, let's give them like gaps of 30 pixels between each one of those. Or actually, you know what? I think 40 is going to be even better. Cool. Let's preview. Awesome. Very cool. I also want to make this responsive. So I'm going to tick off the set items per row. Okay. And then when I preview this, I'm going to have something that's responsive, which is totally awesome. Let me publish the site. All right. And view it here. This is very cool. So now if I have something, it's totally responsive, which is awesome. Now I just want to show you, if I want to add now new images to the gallery, it's going to be very simple. I do need to, because of the store app, to do this through the dashboard. So I'm going to go to the site's dashboard through here. And then I have store products. I'm going to go to my products. And here is my database. And let's say I want the glasses. I want to add some images there. So this here is my media gallery. So I'm going to add some images. Glasses. Let's go to the media from Wix. Okay. Let's do this image. And let's add another one. Sorry. Media from Wix. Glasses. All right. And a third one. Okay. Let's take this one. Great. Now I'm going to make sure that I save what I edited. And now if I go to my website and I'm going to refresh the page, it's going to show me these images that I added. Absolutely cool. It's basically a repeater inside a repeater. Very cool. Now I just want to show one more thing that I can do here in my when it gets to the only one repeater item per row. I can make it even more fancy if I want to, and basically say that when I get to here, and let's just make sure that all right. So I just adjusted a little bit here, the images. They had a width to them, the items in the repeater. So that's fixed. And now if I want to get even more fancy, I can take this repeater with these, with the layouters inside them, like here. And I can actually display that whole thing in a slider. So I basically have a slider within a slider. And that creates a really awesome experience. Let me just see how between each item, I don't want to have any margins. I think this is the items in the repeater itself. Let's see. Okay, so the repeater, let me make it 100%. Very cool. And so now I'm going to give it some padding. So I'm going to give like 30 from here and 50 from there and 50 at the bottom. Very cool. So now let's view it. Let me publish what I did. And now if I go and I'm going to refresh the page, I'm going to go to my mobile. Look at this slick experience of just going through each one of these and viewing the different images. Absolutely awesome. And of course, you can play around with this and create all kinds of things. I know people have been asking for quite some time, how do I create a repeater within a repeater? Well, this is a way to do it. This is one of the ways to do it, to actually use a layouter. And I hope this was of help to some of you. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.